welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have David Hudson. He is the president of SFT, Brazil's premier combat sports promotions. And under his leadership, SFT has redefined the fight scene, showcasing world class talent, groundbreaking rules, and some of the most electrifying matchups, as he says, you'll find anywhere. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure to meet you.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show, David. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk with you about business resilience and about reinvention. In this backdrop, we will have our conversation. But before that, let's understand a bit about your journey, your background, so that the audience learns better about who they are listening to.
So before I start, it's interesting that my third biggest audience on my YouTube is from India. So that's very interesting. I don't know how that happened, but that was a nice surprise. So I'm in the fight business, the MMA business. Originally, I went to University of Miami. I studied and graduated in the film business. I had my own video production and film production company for 10 years. Then I went into film distribution with my father and my brother. We have the biggest distribution company in Latin America. We were producing movies for Netflix, and my main job was sales. I was going to all the top film festivals in the world, the Cannes Film Festival, Berlin, Toronto. And I was married, and in the last 2 years of my marriage, we just went the wrong path. We both got into drugs, and we both got into like cheating into each other and partying too much. Uh, and it was just crazy. It was a year of just doing drugs and partying, and I totally lost myself. And I was really at the bottom of everything. It was like I lost all my friends. I'd fought to my partners, which was my father and my brother. We didn't talk for like a year. I went to the divorce, and I thought it was all over. And then my father decided to start the MMA league in Brazil, but it was a mess. So our lawyer, who's been there for 15 years, told my father, come to Brazil to check it out. So I went to Brazil, and I didn't want to have anything to do with it. But when I got there and I met the people involved in the fighters, I thought it would be just a bunch of like crazy people, but they were the most humble, most nicest people in the world. I said, I want to dedicate my life to this. And overnight, I gave up the drugs, I gave up the partying, and I've never been so dedicated in my life. And someone who I never really watched an MMA fight before this. I don't know, Dana White like the Jesus of MMA. I didn't know Dana White was the day I became president, but I knew the film business, and I knew how to put a show together. Was always I always do everything with a chess strategy. When I was in high school, I was the like South Florida chess champion. I went 2.5 years around losing. So everything I do, I think of chess. I studied the market. I knew I can make it happen. I can make it work, and that's been my life story for the last 6 years.
Right, right. So, how has been your film industry experience, expertise? How did it shape your approach to SFT events?
Well, how did you start the question? What was the first thing?
Yeah, yeah. Your film industry expertise.
Oh,
How did
yes.
it, how did it come to use? Did it come to any use in
Oh
your
yeah, big
events?
time, big time. After the divorce and like all the stuff and the spending crazy amounts of money, charging the company. When I was starting doing the business, I told my dad, this was think of it as a graduate that was like going to university, and I got a graduate master's degree because I was very shy and quiet, and I didn't wasn't outgoing, and my film business, the 15 years in the film and then the 2 years partying created the David Hudson who was able to do that. But I researched the business in Brazil, and I researched all the MMA, and for the country who started MMA, who basically Brazil was very involved. We started with UFC, they bring in the Gracies. Not to have a top-notch organization, there was something wrong. And I was looking at, well, I was studying, and I realized there was two things. One, they had no idea to put a show together. In my 15 years traveling the world to all the top film festivals, I've been to the biggest shows, the biggest film festivals. I've produced movies. So I brought all my world experience from the whole world into the octagon. And then that other part of it was just putting good fights together, which nobody in Brazil was doing. It was a no-brainer.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, how would you help? Can you help us understand about SFT events for a person sitting in India who does not watch your show, but may be interested in, but does not know about your company, about SFT events? How would you describe SFT events to him or her?
All right. By the way, we've had an Indian female who fought a couple times in SFT. She won both times. She was super excited. But as I was saying, I have a big following in India, which is kind of amazing. But basically, if anybody knows anything about the MMA, the sport of MMA, they know that outside of the US, Brazil is the most dominant power in the world. We're the biggest exporter of fighters all over the world. But the problem is all the other events in Brazil, who should have been big, their mentality was there's no way we can compete with the UFC. So let's not put something good together. Let's create fights so my fighters can win. So all the events they represent fighters. So they create fights so the fighters can win fights easily, so they can become champions. And then their goal is to send their fighters to go fight in UFC or go fight in Bellator or somewhere in Russia. So then they're not putting a show for the fans. The fights are not good. You know who's going to win even before you get in there. They've been some major events in Brazil where the championship fight is a guy that's got 10 wins and no losses against a guy that's like all in all was never fought before. Like, what's a guy that's never fought before doing fighting for the title? Because he wants to use it. So my idea was I want to have the best of the best of the best. And we want to put something together. So I don't have the conflict of interest. So therefore, since I don't have the conflict of interest, and because of my 15 years of film and television experience, I had a really good relationship with one of the major networks in Brazil. So I was able to get prime time every Saturday night, every single week of the year. And it's only the only reason I actually did is because of the TV deal. Without the TV deal, I would never be doing what I'm doing because there's no way you can. I wasn't interested in doing something small. Everything I've done was big. When I had my video company, I was one of the biggest companies in Miami. When I went into the film distribution, we were the biggest in Latin America. So my thing was I wanted to be the biggest. So I need to put a great show, which what we do for the fans who come in there. We copy a lot of what NBA does with the kiss cam, and we call the kids up and to the octagon to win prizes. We have a mascot that we call Big Dave. He's like my twin brother on steroids. He's like this massive 2.5 foot tall muscle guy who looks just like me. So we make it very entertaining for the people. We have free video games for the kids. We have a caricature artist. So the whole family can come because Brazil is a poor country as well. So instead of the father and the mother having to figure out how to get a nanny, their kids don't want to leave. We have kids who, like, before they go home, they want to give me a hug, they bring me chocolate, they have a great time, and the dad can be relaxed right there. And the wife gets a kiss cam. So she's on TV kissing her husband, women, look, that's my husband. So that's it. And then because we have the TV exposure, I was able to get the best fighters in Brazil to fight for me. And if anybody follows the UFC now, Carlos Prates, the guy that's always smoking cigarettes and doing tequila shots after his fights, he's 4-0, 5-0. He won bonus of the night and all of them. But Karina Killer, she's ranked 9, and she's probably going to win the championship. And Jamal Scordi, the guy that got the bite, the $50,000 bite at the UFC, he's a champion of mine. And even though we don't represent fighters, tons of my fighters are in the UFC. And sometimes I wonder, should I change strategy? But if I change strategy, I'm going to lose the quality of the fights that I have. And that's been my call to success. Now, it was very interesting because when I first started, people knew I know nothing about MMA. Like I said, I thought Dana White was a woman. So people would come to me, David, listen, you're wrong. What you're doing is wrong. You got to change the way you're doing. Now I'll tell people, with all due respect, it's never worked. It's been 25 years of MMA. There's no one in Brazil has made something work. So if I do what you tell me to do, it's a recipe for disaster. I know I'm going to fail. With all due respect, now that I'm not saying anything bad about you, but it's never worked. So, think outside the box. Keep the box as far away as possible. Let me try my crazy way. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, at least I had a chance of doing it.
Right. So, in the beginning of the show, you said that when you came back and you wanted to look at how your dad was doing things and watched things from very closely, and then after some time you liked it, and then left everything that was negative in your life in terms of drugs and all. Was it so powerful? What was so powerful about this that you could, in a jiffy, you could leave everything that was stalling your growth and suddenly get into it? People generally come here for fun, and sort of, but for it looks like it's sort of some sort of a redemption sort of a thing that struck you immediately about this particular thing. So tell us a bit about their mindset, your motivation that started, rebuilding your career altogether, reinventing yourself from film industry to this,
Right.
sports promotions.
I've been very lucky. They say to like live in the moment. My whole life I was able to really live in the moment. No matter what was going on, I would always sleep right because there's no point to worrying about the future, and there's nowhere to dwelling in the past. The past is gone. The future is you don't know. The building can fall on top of you, and you've spent the whole night worried. So I was very lucky like that, and with my experience as a chess player, it's really helped me to the point where when I was working in the film business, I would get accused by my dad many times. Are you working with the competition? How did you know they want to do that? How did you know? Because it's like for me, it comes. It's like this move, that move, that move, that move, that move, and then I can figure things out. So I was very lucky with that. And then the divorce came, and it was stupid, and we all did start doing stupid stuff. But then I wanted to go back to work. But my father and my brother, they thought I was gone. They gave up on me. And truthfully, if I would have gone back to the film business, because of the film business, my strong point was sales, and part of sales is whining and dining people. I never would have gone away from the drugs and the alcohol and all that kind of crap. But so when I was invited to go to Brazil by my lawyer, I said, "All right, I'll go. Never watched a fight. I don't give a I don't care about this stuff." But then when I met the people, and they were so humble, and they were so nice, and they were so respectful, and they were so nice to me, and I'm the guy that I help everybody. I always. I'm the kind of guy. Everybody says, if you need me, call me. Whatever, anytime of the night. People never answer. I'm the one that answers. I've got people that have keys to my house. I left my house 4 o'clock in the morning to pick up people at clubs. I'm always trying. I care a lot about people. And when I saw how the Brazilian people, the Brazilian fighters, are suffering, and I saw that I could create something that would change people's life. And so that I made it into my mission. Yes, I believe I can make money. Until now, I'm not making money. I'm still living off of the money we're making from the film business. I'm sinking everything into this, but I know I've changed lives of many, many people. We have lots of stories of how I have changed the lives of people because of what I've done, and that's very satisfying to me, knowing that I'm changing lives.
Right. So was it because you liked it, you felt good? Was it easy for you? What challenges did you face? Because you were moving from another industry, from another place to this particular, whole new thing. Help us understand about, weren't you afraid that, okay, these things might be, and then else in the family will think, I'm not able to succeed in this also.
You know, uh, you know, it's important to have ego. If you too much ego, then you get blinded by things. So I was very confident in myself when the week that I was born in Brazil, when I moved to the States when I was 11 years old. My film business was in Brazil, so I lived in the States, but I've always traveled to Brazil. So there wasn't like a big change from country to country. But it's I lost my train of thought. So the main challenges I had at first was nobody believed me. Historically, whenever an American come to Brazil to start an MMA thing, they will come and they will like screw the people. They will like not. They will disappear the event. They will get government grants. So the big question for the first year and a half of me in Brazil was, when are you going to screw us over? I go, I'm not here to screw anybody. But it's like I saw my competition, and I said, I have no competition. I'm the only one who has an open TV channel. I mean, the power in the United States, cable TV does really well. So sports on cable TV, ESPN. In Brazil and Latin America in general, cable TV, you cannot survive on that. I'm on the top 4 broadcast the channel from Brazil. We are often in second place for our time. We're second place in the whole country. The second most watched show is my show. So no one can compete with me. And because of my film career, I knew about how you have to communicate. In the United States, when we have the Olympics, they talk about the story about the mother who died and the father the cancer, and that's how you capture people. And because I have the film experience, and no one in Brazil was doing this. I didn't have to put too much thought of it. I saw those people were doing. I go, this is all wrong. I can't do it, and it was a success overnight. And thank God. So basically, everything that has happened in my life, from being a chess player in high school, to being a religious Jew, to being this crazy drug addict in the film business, all of this came together. They say that everything in life gets you ready for the next. God's always getting you ready to face your next challenge. So when the shit hits the fan, sorry, I don't know if I can say that, but when things hit the bottom, God knows that you can pass that, and you're going to learn something from that. So it's very important to always. So because after this, every time something bad is going on, I go, what's the lesson I can learn? Why is God giving me this challenge? Where can I see? And I know for a fact I should have died that year and a half of my divorce, but thank God I didn't. But I know that well, if it wasn't for that, I would never be able to be David Hudson, the guy that's in the octagon, rolling around with the mascot. I'm a very different president. Fighters, when they win, they jump on top of me. It's like you will never see any sports president, Dana White, the NBA commissioner. People do what they do to me because they know it's like in the end of the day. I tell people all the time, we're just people. I'll never forget was my first SFT when I went to watch was SFT4. SFT5 was president. And I make it for me, it's very important to be there at the end of every single fight. I want to hug every fight, the winner, the loser, from the first fight, the amateur to the champion. For me, the respect is the most important thing. So I remember there was one of the first few fights, I went to hug the fighter and the guy was bloody. And he goes, "Oh my God, president, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." I go, "Dude, this blood, this sweat is just going to make us happen." So I gave him another hug and I told him, "Listen, on TV, I'm the president and you're the fighter, but I'm just David and you just drum." And that's how I treat everybody. And that's been one of the reasons why people really love me, because I'm just a guy who's having a great time in the octagon, having fun, and thank God for making it work.
So, is it natural or is it you doing it for business or is it the person you are? And that is an authentic David Hudson.
Obviously, I'm not gonna lie and say I'm doing this because I'm a noble cause, just want to help people. No, but I can tell you something. I could go back to the film business, and the film business is, I travel business class. I ate in at the top restaurants in the world. We're still a very strong distribution company, so every single salesperson throws themselves at you. Or I can go to a restaurant and order the most expensive wine, and I'm in a circle around of people who have graduate degrees and they're smart people. And my life is about, I would have to send some emails. The worst thing that would have is like I had a 3 hour delay in British Airlines in London, and I would go to the champagne room and drink champagne for 3 hours. So my life was really simple and easy and fun. And here, I don't have any graduate degree people. I'm not going to 5-star restaurants. I'm around most of the fathers are very humble, they're not that they're bad people, they're super nice people, but it's a whole different thing. I didn't sleep last night. I have a very hard time finding people to do the stuff that I needed done properly. And because of my experience in production and video production, I'm an editor. I spent the whole night editing. We just launched our own channel in Brazil. We have on Pluto TV, Samsung, and TCL. So I'm putting the whole channel together. So I do a lot of the editing. I write all the scripts. So I love what I do. And at the same time, the fact that I could help the people was where I decided is like, you know what, Dad, I don't want to both of those things anymore. I don't want anything to do with the film business. I'm going to dedicate myself to this. My brother and my father, you guys do that. Don't have to worry about this. I'm going to make this thing giant. I'm going to change people's lives. So yes, I know I can make money. It's been 5 years. I haven't made a penny from it. I believe it can be huge. I believe it can be really huge. But the fact that I can work with these humble people and help them, as opposed to having a really easy life, but working around all these fake people, and really at the end of the day, I didn't do anything besides put a movie on TV. I figured this is where I want to be.
This is where you want to be. Now people trust your abilities in the family and the way you are running things. Now they don't need to keep an eye on you in that, not
No,
in a
no.
negative sense, but in a positive way.
Yeah, the biggest problem I had when I was trying to come back is they wouldn't even give me a chance. I go, give me a shot. Let me send me some emails. Let me make some phone calls. I remember I was like 6 months after I was in between this NBA film business and MMA. People in the film business, they always loved me. I remember with the 1 year that I was lying to everybody that I was working, we had closed a large contract for a South American distributor. And the guy would call me, send the contract, send the contract, send the contract. And then I told him, I'm sending. My father one day decides to call the guy, goes, Carlos, where's the deposit? He goes, oh my God, my secretary didn't send it. Then he calls me, David, I'm sending the deposit to your dad. Can you please send me the contract? We need to get it signed. So people really love me. So I was working with my dad. I went to a wedding in Mexico, I sat next to the guy that's bought films for us, TV Tech in Brazil, and I sold a $3 million contract doing it in without even working, So people have always people have been attracted to me, I guess, and it's I'm a people's person, and I'm always happy. It's no, when I was even my worst, lowest, darkest days, I never got into fights. I was there, a happy drunk. I was a responsible drunk. I would be on drugs, but I'll make sure that nobody will be drinking and driving. So yeah, I guess a lot of the stuff is you have to be born with it. It's some things that just I don't have an addictive personality, so I was able to go from drinking drugs and alcohol to the next day we're doing it, and I have a whole full liquor bar in my house. I don't touch it. I don't want to touch it. Friends come over, I'll have a drink. There's no rebounding. So I'm very lucky with that. I'm lucky that I can be here in the now because it's easy to say, but it's hard to do. But there's been times during the last 5 years which is probably going to shut down. Same night, I would sleep fine, and my friends would go, David, what the hell? Because I don't give a fuck guy, I just whatever. And we can't control this, so why lose sleep over it?
Absolutely. What about monetization of the present business? You said we are not making not much money, and your film business is in fact helping at the moment. How are you looking at the money making part in the events company?
Yeah, so as crazy as it sounds, we are in the network that we're on. We're typically between 6 and 8 most watched show in the week of the entire network, and we're on 11 o'clock at night on Saturday. Typically, the most watched shows are between 8 and 11. We're only losing to the news, soccer, and Formula One. So we and on all of Brazil, all the channels, we're often number two. So we have a very very watched show. I haven't been able to find someone that wants to work. It's just crazy. I know in the States also there's the problem now finding people to work. And I haven't been able to dedicate myself to do the sales because if I go to do sales, then my social media was going to fall. So I finally was able to hire somebody. So my goal for January, when I want to change, I want to get out of this chair because now I've got a good team together and I need to go spend some time in Brazil. I have 3 kids, so I never stayed in Brazil more than 10 days. I'm divorced to the shared custody. So it'll be 10 days here, 10 days with the mom. But now my kids are 20. They're dating. I never see them. So I want to spend more time in Brazil and start using what I'm strong at, which is the relationships, and go meet the people. And I know I can close it because all my competitors, well, not really competitors, have sponsorship. And they don't have the visibility that we have. And they don't have the communication that we do. We tell the story of the fighters. Our fighters, when they fight at SFT, there was one guy that had to hire 3 other fighters to help him give him private lessons. This is a very interesting story. For me, the first thing I told my matchmaker was, the title fight SFT is going to mean something because all the title fight, most of the title fights in Brazil, it's the giving the fight so they can create the champion so they can send it out. So with SFT 20, we had the number 1 middleweight fighter in Brazil coming from 11 wins. Amazing fighter. He was going to fight against number 2. 4 days before the fight, number 2 guy dropped out. We don't know what happened. And Magnum, what are we going to do now? With 36 hours to go to the fight, Magnum finds someone. He goes, I found this guy, King Kong. He hasn't fought in a year, but he's pretty good. He has a road record because he had fought in 5 different weight categories. Let's bring him. I said, okay. So we're doing the weigh-in on Friday morning outside by the street, and he comes out of the Uber, and the guy is tiny. And Soldado is tall. I go, Magnum, what the hell? You just gave a present to Soldado. Look at this guy. And the shorts he was wearing was the shorts he used to wear when he was lighter, but he came up a category, so he was like bursting out of his shorts. It was like, I don't want to sound racist, but he looked like a little cute monkey, And then they go to the weigh-in, he's looking up the guy, and I go, Magnum, what the hell? The fight starts, and the fight starts, and the whole stadium is going for Soldado. Halfway through the first round, Soldado starts to lose. And by the third round, it's like the Rocky movie with the Russians, everybody's going for King Kong, and with 16 seconds to go in the last round, King Kong knocks out Soldado. The next day, he signs the contract with McDonald's to do a commercial for them. And 2 weeks later, he gets called by Russia, and he gets the contract to fight in Russia. This is a guy that hadn't fought in 1 year, was in his city, and I asked him, how come you took this fight? He goes, everybody was against me. My coach was against me. My wife was against me. I said, I got nothing to lose. If I lose, I lose. I'm supposed to lose. And so it's like, so you guys, you never know what's going to be. So you always got to believe.
Absolutely. So for the audience, a, the lovable guy, you know, film people love you, the Brazil people, the events people love you. So where do you see the lovable guy in the next 2 years? Doing this thing, something else? How do you visualize the future?
No, no. My thing is, I want when the people ask me where do I see myself in 20 years, I say in the VIP lounge at Madison Square Garden with all of my finalists that was in the beginning and the matchmaker, and we're gonna be there just drinking whiskey. And our kids, my kids will be the president because I'll never let my kids fight, and your kids will be fighting, and we're gonna be enjoying and we're gonna be in one of the top organizations in the world. And you know, UFC, it's not there's money enough for UFC and others. So it's not, I don't even think I want to be bigger than UFC. But I know I can be big, and so that's where I see myself. And I know I can do it. I know I can do it.
Of course,
And that
anyone has to
and
do it.
because I've spent the last 5 years working 20-hour days, 5 week. I don't sleep. My kids never complain because like 2 years ago, my son's for my birthday, my son wrote me a letter. Goes, Dad, you are such a example for me. I see how you dedicate yourself. When they would come home from school, I would stop working. I would be with them to go to sleep, and then I would stay the whole night up working because I didn't want to lose 1 second with them. And they realized that when they were really young. And so I am dedicated because I know, and there's the only way it's not going to work is if I don't do the work. And maybe we'll come to India one day.
Of course. That will be, you know, that will be a great day for a lot of fans down here. You've got good following, and I'm sure by that time your following will jump to a considerable level. So that's a lot of wisdom, you know, a lot of things to learn from, you know, in terms of business, reinvention, life, Hollywood, you know, filmmaking, also about events promotion. So a lot of people who would want to connect with you, learn more from you, about you, business wise want to tie up with you. What's the best way for them to do so, David?
Yeah, they can send me an email, david@sftcombat.com, or look me up on Instagram, David Hudson at SFT or SFT Combat. I'm always I live with this in my hand because social media, you know, we got Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You know how it is. And because I'm on TV, and because it's my baby, I don't want to give it to somebody else. I'm not ready to let somebody else take care of my baby. So I get all the messages. I'm the one that's replying to everybody. You know, and it's funny sometimes I walk down the street. They go, "Hey Dave, what's up? How's it going?" And I meet so many people that I'm like, "Oh my God, I know this person." And then I realize that like, I never met this guy. He just feels like he knows me because he sees me on TV.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. And guys, check out my YouTube. Like I said, we had Priya Sharma who fought a couple times for us from India. So go there, watch her fight, and that's it. Thank you so much.